Hello everyone and welcome back to EMPIREPRO, or if you're new here, thank you for clicking on this video. Today I'm starting a brand new series on the channel known as Empire Crime Files, where each episode we take a look at a pro wrestler with a reputation for being, well, not the nicest, shall we say. I do want to make a quick disclosure and disclaimer ahead of this video that I am in no way trying to send hate to the people I discuss in this series, just trying to bring and shed light to their situations. And if you go out of your way to send hate to these people, then I guess you're just as bad. But I'd like to think that the community we have here is predominantly positive and peaceful, so shout out to you all. Rather than focusing on the morbid side of wrestling, such as the Von Erich tragedies or the Chris Benoit incident, this series will essentially be used to discuss some of wrestling's most notorious douchebags, calling them out on their shitty behaviour. And where better to start than one of wrestling's biggest head cases, Alberto El Patron, formerly known as WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. The former two-time WWE champion, Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank holder, and globally recognised talent has had one hell of a fall from grace over the last decade, going from future Hall of Famer to being practically erased from the history of WWE. Del Rio, real name Jose Alberto Rodriguez, started gaining a reputation after his WWE release in 2014 of having somewhat of a bad attitude and would often no-show indie dates where he was scheduled to wrestle. This would be the case at a PCW event that I attended in Preston shortly after his release, but he was swiftly replaced by his former right-hand man in WWE, Ricardo Rodriguez. And to be honest, I think the fans were happier to see him anyways. I know I certainly was. He had a great showing and got a great reaction from the crowd. Del Rio was previously married to Angela Valquet, with whom he had 3 children until their separation in May of 2016, with Valquet alleging adultery towards the former WWE superstar for the reason she filed for the divorce. Despite their issues, however, it at least seemed as though Del Rio was trying to help Valquet through a medical condition she was suffering in April of 2022, addressing his fans and the public to ask for blood donations, though without disclosing the health issues for which she was hospitalized. Unfortunately, Del Rio would take to Twitter in May of 2022 to announce her tragic passing. But now we move on to the main reason for Del Rio's infamy as an all-round douchebag, which comes from his very public relationship with former WWE superstar Paige, aka AEW's Saraya, in May of 2016. Also the same month in which he was receiving divorce papers from his ex-wife, so let that sink in for a minute. The two became engaged in October 2016 before separating officially in late 2017. Then on the 14th of July 2021, during an interview with Hannibal TV, Del Rio would make threats to expose Paige for her previous arrests and also made claims of domestic violence against her. This would come after Paige had opened up in a November 2020 interview with GAW-TV, saying to the hosts, former WWE stars Mickie James, SoCal Val and Lisa Marie Varon, that she felt more comfortable talking about the abuse she suffered at the hands of Del Rio, since it had been almost 5 years since their separation. Paige would reveal some pretty heartbreaking revelations, claiming that she was, quote, trapped in rooms for hours whilst getting her, quote, ass beat every couple of minutes by Del Rio. As per the criminal record complaint filed against Del Rio at Bexar County, which we'll discuss in a moment, he allegedly stuffed a sock in his girlfriend's mouth and choked her before striking her repeatedly in the head with his fists. He also allegedly threatened to drop the victim's son, quote, in the middle of the road somewhere. Then in 2017, Paige and Del Rio went through a domestic dispute after an incident at Orlando International Airport, following which Paige issued a statement to the public and denied that her fiancé at the time physically assaulted her. They then broke up a few months later, and Paige then opened up about the abuse, saying that she no longer felt afraid of Del Rio and was willing to face any consequences that came from opening up about the abuse she suffered. The legal issues didn't stop there for Del Rio either, as he was arrested on the 9th of May 2020 in San Antonio, Texas, after allegedly battering and essaying his then-girlfriend. He was booked in Bexar County Jail and charged with 1 count of essay and 1 count of assault causing bodily harm. Clearly a repeated behaviour and pattern of violence towards women at the time. Then, on October 9th of the same year, Rodriguez was indicted by a grand jury and formally charged with aggravated kidnapping and SA, 2 felony charges. Del Rio's trial was delayed several times until the charges were ultimately dropped on December 10th, 2021, after the witness in the trial went mysteriously missing. Yeah, nothing shady going on there then. And finally, that takes us up to the present day, and surprisingly, not the reason for this video, because, amazingly, whilst making and editing this video, Del Rio once again got himself embroiled in yet another controversy. The incident took place at a AAA Lucha Libre show in Tijuana, Mexico on March 14th, 2025. Del Rio was being criticised and hurled abuse at by the fans, as well as allegedly throwing coins at him. And, being the constant professional we know he is, he decided it was best to jump the barricade and hurl a chair towards the fans, having to get held back by security. A different fan then throws a chair directly at the head of Del Rio, seemingly rocking him. I obviously don't condone that from the fan, but it's pretty clear that Del Rio certainly escalated the situation, which allegedly ended up in a female spectator needing medical assistance and being sent to the hospital. The commission, which oversees wrestling in Tijuana, issued a statement suspending El Patron from wrestling in the city for 180 days. But it doesn't seem that it's going to affect his push in AAA. A promotion that, no offense to them, and I'll say allegedly in case I get in any legal trouble for saying this, but they seem to be embroiled in a lot of controversies and sweep a lot of things under the rug. Anyway, that's all I have for this quite depressing video. Thank you all for watching, and if you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell for post notifications. And if you have any recommendations for the next episode of Empire Crime Files, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments section below. Until next time, Empire out.